everybody to the SoA Awards and to Southwark Cathedral, which is a stunning venue with wonderful literary connections. It's lovely to be here with all of you, and I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to everyone watching at home via the live stream. I'm here to introduce our keynote speaker, Val McDermid, a celebrated crime writer who has sold over 19 million books in more than 40 languages. She writes for television, and several of her books have been adapted for the screen. In the past, she's been a judge of the Women's Prize for Fiction and the Makita Prize, and she is here to give our keynote today. Please welcome Val McDermid.
That was a lovely welcome. Good evening, everyone, here in Southwark Cathedral and watching online elsewhere. Isn't this a glorious building? It's a pleasure and an honour to be here with you tonight to take part in the Society of Authors Awards ceremony. This is the time for us to celebrate success and make notes on our phones for books and writers that may have slipped past us. This is the time for us to acknowledge the writers who are changing the way we look at the world around us. This is the time for us to revel in the power of imagination to transport us into someone else's vision of the world. This is the time for us to embrace the creativity that brings our words into other people's hearts and heads. This is the time to make our voices heard. The last few years have been hard on our community. We're all routinely accustomed to our own company, spending hours on our own trying to make the words sing on the page. But to be confined without any sense of when we can recover conviviality in our day-to-day lives, to be starved of the eavesdropping or the research that provides so much of our material, that's been hard on most of us. Now, I think we value an occasion like this all the more. Tonight, we get to put to one side the threats to our creativity, the cost of living crisis, the climate emergency, AI, Brexit, and politicians who think the arts and the humanities don't matter. Tonight we raise our glasses to the power of words to transform our lives, to speak for those without a voice, to bring marginalised and excluded voices into our big tent, to bring hope to what feels like hopelessness, to give us pause in the midst of our busy lives, to celebrate. We're all here because we believe in the power of words, and it's wonderful to have the chance to put that front and centre here in the Society of Authors Awards ceremony. And this is a truly amazing ceremony because this is about the judgment of our peers. Tonight we're handing out 11 awards celebrating fiction, non-fiction and poetry. They're available to authors at all stages of their careers, at all phases of their lives. In terms of monetary value, they're worth a total of over £111,000. But welcome though that is, it's really not all about the money. It's about the recognition that all those hours of hard work, of self-doubt, of toe-curling self-promotion, it's all been worth it because other professionals who understand what goes on behind the curtain as well as on the page, they get it. To all 36 shortlisted authors, congratulations. It's not empty words when I say that being shortlisted is worth celebrating for its own sake. I've been shortlisted for many awards. I know what you're feeling here on the night, the butterflies, the anxiety, the fear that your rictus grin might give up the ghost too soon, the should I, shouldn't I fret over preparing an acceptance speech, will it be tempting fate? But what if I do win and I stand there incoherent and thanking my cat instead of my agent? Try to put all that to one side and bask in the glory of being on that shortlist, because it is glory. Think of how many books are published in your category in the UK every year, hell, every week of every year. And you have come through. You have been recognised. Of course, we're all ambitious for more. But for tonight, whether you win an award or not, you are a winner. Incidentally, if you're joining us online, you can buy them all on the Society of Authors page at bookshop.org and here in the room from Blackwell's bookstand, right back there. This way you also support the work of the Society, as well as lining your own pockets with some cracking reads. Now, something I know from my own experience is the value of recognition. People look at where I am now, the so-called Queen of Crime, though I prefer the Scottish phrase, Quine of Crime. Quine being a Scottish word for a woman who hasn't yet reached the status of crone. All those books sold, all the TV series on our screens, radio plays, singer in a rock band, and they think it's always been that way. They couldn't be more wrong. My fellow Scottish crime writer Ian Rankin and I have often joked that it took us 10 years to become an overnight sensation. The only reason I survived the first 2 years of my career as a full-time writer of fiction was that I left my previous career as a national newspaper journalist with a generous redundancy payment. My first 3 novels were published by the feminist indie, the Women's Press, and they attracted an advance that was about half of my previous monthly take-home pay. The books were also paperback originals, and some of you may remember that back in the olden days, newspapers didn't review paperbacks, not even a monthly roundup. There was no social media to use for self-promotion. The best we could hope for was persuading a local library or bookshop to stage an event or a signing. Sometimes people actually turned up who weren't related to me. The only reason I survived as a writer was through the kindness of booksellers and librarians and readers who pressed my early books into people's hands and said, "You should read this, I think you'll enjoy it." What changed that? Well, in 1994, I wrote Crackdown. It was the 3rd novel featuring Manchester-based kickboxing smart-mouth private eye Kate Brannigan, often incidentally described as feisty. I thought I kind of knew what that meant, but I've got an overdeveloped sense of curiosity, so I looked it up in the Oxford English Dictionary, where I discovered that it comes from the Middle English verb feisten, which means to break wind. So I had inadvertently created the farting detective. Anyway, Kate's 3rd outing, Crackdown, made 2 shortlists. In the UK, it was shortlisted for the Gold Dagger for the Best Crime Novel of the Year. In the US, it was shortlisted for the prestigious ADCI Award, chosen by readers rather than a jury. People began to take notice. I was invited to the occasional book festival, of which there were not many back then, and bookshops started putting up actual posters for my events. These days, being shortlisted has a significant impact on sales. Even debut authors, whose publishers don't have much of a marketing budget, see an uptick in their numbers. Being noticed by awards panels makes a difference, and it makes a difference to your self-esteem. To be chosen by your peers, that is something you can cling to on those days when you wonder why on earth you're spending hours apart from your family and friends just to put words on a screen. To win the approval of people who know what they're talking about but have no skin in your particular game, that's really something. But of course, winning provides even more. For me, the turning point came the following year when I won the Gold Dagger with The Mermaid Singing, the first novel to feature psychological profiler Tony Hill and police detective Carol Jordan. It's a dark, dark book that doesn't pull its punches when dealing with the nature of violence and how it leaves its mark. I had no great hopes for this book. Nobody in the UK was writing psychological thrillers about profilers, and it marked a gear change in my writing style. But my agent loved it, and so did my editor, though they thought such a dark book written by a woman might be off-putting, like women don't do dark. Yeah, right. I refused to use a pseudonym. I mean, why work for years to establish a tiny little reputation, then turn your back on it? The concession I did agree to was to have an ungendered author bio. After all, people had heard of Val Kilmer, right? And Val Doonican. The Mermaid Singing was published the week before the Gold Dagger was announced, but the judges had read a proof, had shortlisted it, and then voted it the winner. I couldn't believe it. When I think of it even now, it astonishes me. It was so against the grain. But the impact went far beyond that room in central London. Foreign publishers who'd never previously shown any interest in my work snapped up the rights for the winning title and my backlist. My advances at home doubled. Books pages that had never acknowledged my existence started reviewing me. I was invited to even more festivals in the UK and abroad. That one night in London not only made me more secure financially, it gave me a kind of bedrock touchstone because it was so different from anything I'd written previously, because it had been such a struggle to knock it into shape. It gave me confidence that whatever story was burning in my head and in my heart, I'd somehow find the voice to tell it, the structure to make the narrative work. To everyone who wins an award tonight, I wish the same fair wind. Because one of the important aspects of the Society of Authors Awards is that it offers recognition in categories that often get squeezed out of the publicity and marketing meetings. Now, I love publishers, but just like the rest of us, they can be easily distracted by bright, shiny things. If you don't obviously fit into the category they deem flavour of the month, if you're not a TV star, or a radio comedian, or an MP who may need a second career in a hurry, or a footballer who's achieved a stellar career on the field, you can slip through the net. The joy of these awards is that they don't discriminate on the grounds of name recognition in Tesco or how many followers you have on TikTok. They reward excellence, the mastery of craft, originality of subject matter or storytelling. I'm proud to be here tonight among a room full of people who do what I do. We understand each other. We know how hard it is to overcome the many obstacles the world and our own perceived deficiencies throw in our path. Most of all, we persist. We're patient. We don't give in and we don't give up. Tonight, let's salute the winners, but let's also salute the belief that each and every one of us clings to, that we will carry on finding the words that give our readers hope in the grimmest of days. Hope and, of course, pleasure. And now to the awards themselves.
Thank you so much to Val for that wonderful, inspiring speech. And both in venue and online, thank you for joining us this evening. And now for the awards. Our first prize of the evening is also our newest. The ADCI Literary Prize is for a novel written by a disabled or chronically ill author that features one or more disabled or chronically ill characters, and celebrates its first winner tonight. It was founded by publisher Claire Christian and author Penny Batchelor. Sadly, Penny can't be with us this evening for health reasons, but she is watching online. Penny and Claire would like to thank the SoA and the funders and supporters for making the prize happen, the ALCS, the Arts Council England, the Drusilla Harvey Memorial Fund, and the Professional Writing Academy, and all the wonderful writers who submitted to the prize. Thank you to the panel of judges, Ni Akiwei Parks, Penny Batchelor, Nydia Hebden, Rowan Hiseo Buchanan, Carl Knights, Julia Lund, Vicky Pattis, and Chloe Timms. Congratulations to this strong shortlist. Judge and founder Penny Batchelor said, "It was a delight to see so many different novel genres represented in the prize's submissions, and with fantasy, myth, speculative, and uplit, the shortlist reflects this. There's something for all fiction lovers." The runner-up is Fiona Scott Barrett for The Exit Facility, which is self-published. And the inaugural winner is Nicola Griffith for Spear, published by Tor.com Publishing. Nicola lives in Seattle and so can't be with us this evening, but congratulations to her and to everybody who was shortlisted. Next, are you coming to pick her prize up? Fabulous. Brilliant. So excited. Is somebody coming to pick up Nicola's prize? No. No, okay. In which case, thank you, congratulations, and we'll move on to the Volcano Prize. Next, the Gordon Boca Volcano Prize, now in its second year, which focuses on the experience of travel away from home and is in memory of Malcolm Lowry and generously endowed by Ramdai Boca and Gordon Boca, his biographer. Thank you to this year's judges, Ameh Hussain, Ziba Talkani, and Kerry Young. The 2023 Gordon Boca Volcano Prize shortlist is an eclectic mix, said Judge Kerry Young. Historic, contemporary, and futuristic, taking us around the world from Europe to South and East Asia, and even under the sea. The 2023 runner-up is David Park for Spies in Canaan, published by Bloomsbury. Unfortunately, David can't be with us this evening, but congratulations. And the 2023 winner is Amina Ahmad for The Return of Faris Ali. published by Scepter, Hodder and Stoughton. Unfortunately, Amina cannot be with us this evening, but we're very pleased to have her parents in the room to celebrate on her behalf. Thank you so much for your tea. Thank you. Val will give you the envelope. Next, the Somerset Maugham Awards. The Somerset Maugham Awards have been awarded since 1947 to writers under the age of 30, with thanks to our judges Fred de Gia, Ardashi Vakil and Roseanne Watt. Each of these authors receives the Somerset Maugham Award for an outstanding work of fiction, non-fiction or poetry that the judges described as speaking with eloquence and power. The winners are as follows. Travis Alabanza for None of the Above, published by Canongate Books. Sussy Annie for To Fill a Yellow House, published by Weidenfield and Nicholson. And Maya Rose Craig for Bird Girl, published by Jonathan Cape, Penguin Random House. Jay Gao for Imperium, published by Carcanet Press. Unfortunately, Jay can't join us this evening. And Ganaik Johal for We Move, published by Profile Books, Serpent's Tail. Thank you very much. Now for the travelling scholarships. Oh, one more. Oh, yes, we have. We've got another one. Sorry. We have got Moses Mackenzie for An Olive Grove in Enns, published by Wildfire Headline. Thank you very much. And now for the travelling scholarships. It made you wait, it's fine. The travelling scholarships were endowed in 1944 to enable authors to travel and engage with writers abroad. Thanks to our assessors Emily Barr, Gabriel Badamosi, Anne McElvoy, Alvin Pang, and Philip Terry. Each of these authors receives a travelling scholarship to encourage them in their work and travel abroad. Suleiman Adonia, sadly Suleiman cannot be with us tonight. Tim Atkins, oh. Tim can't be with us either, I'm afraid, but congratulations. Anjali Joseph, who is here. Somewhere. Keep it coming. Okay, we'll keep going and maybe they'll turn up later. Jen Stout, who is also here. Yeah, you have to do the photograph, I'm afraid. Fantastic, thank you. And Piers Torde, you should be here too. Fantastic. Next, on to the ALCS Tom Gallen Trust Award. The ALCS Tom Gallen Trust Award was founded by Nellie Tom Gallen in memory of her brother, and rewards a short story of up to 5,000 words. It is now generously sponsored by ALCS. Thanks go to our panel of judges, Claire Fuller, Sophie Haydock, Billy Kahora, and Mary Watson. Congratulations to those on the shortlist, whose stories the judges described as magical, suspenseful, strange, and surprising, and each one brimming with talent. Nice thing to say, right? This year's runner-up is Karen Stevens for Among the Crows. And this year's winner is Kieran Folan for A Day. Congratulations, all of you. On to now the Paul Torde Prize, which celebrates for a 5th year. It was founded by the Paul Torde family and set up in his honour to celebrate debut novelists over 60. This prize is now also funded by the Hawthornden Literary Retreat. Thanks go to judges Rashida Ashante Malcolm, Katie O'Shaughnessy, and Andrew Taylor. Congratulations to the shortlist, described by the judges as perceptive, innovative, moving, polemical, and downright funny. The 2023 runner-up is Julie Owen Moylan for That Green-Eyed Girl, published by Michael Joseph, Penguin Random House. Unfortunately, Julie isn't here tonight, but I hope she's watching. But the 2023 winner is Bonnie Garmus for Lessons in Chemistry, published by Doubleday, PRH. Fantastic. Next, the Makita Prize. The Makita Prize was founded by Tom Makita and is open to debut novels by writers aged 40 and over. Thanks go to our judges Selma DeBar, Rebecca Foster, Gonzalo C. Garcia, Kelly Greenberg-Jeffcott, Anyeti Isong, and Nick Renison. Congratulations to our shortlist for their incredible books, which transport us from the slums of Victorian London to the graveyards of Trinidad, from rural London to the streets and countrysides of Pakistan. This year's runner-up is Liz Hyder for The Gifts, published by Manila Press, Bonnier Books. And this year's winner is Louise Kennedy for Trespassers, published by Bloomsbury. And she's here. Hooray. Next, the one that everybody is wanting to hear me say, the Queen's Knickers Award. The Queen's Knickers Award for an outstanding and quirky children's book for ages 0 to 7 was founded in 2020 and generously funded by Nicholas Allen. Thank you to our judges, Smitri Halls, Sarah McIntyre, and Ken Wilson-Max. Congratulations to our shortlisted authors and illustrators, who the judges praised for their quirkiness, humour, and originality. The 2023 runners-up are John Agard and Satoshi Kitamura for When Creature Met Creature, published by Scallywag Press. Sadly, John and Satoshi unfortunately can't be with us this evening, but congratulations. The winner is Olaf Falafel for Blobfish, published by Walker Books. Great to meet you. Congratulations.
I know I'm not supposed to be doing any thanks, but can I thank Camilla for allowing me to wear an actual pair of Queen's knickers to the awards today? They did chafe a bit at first, but I think I've broken them in.
The part of me that shouldn't kind of wishes that everybody could see them, but I don't think we're going to allow that in a cathedral. But thank you, that was wonderful. Now, the Chumley Awards. The Chumley Awards were founded by the late Dowager Marchioness of Chumley and recognise achievement and distinction in poetry, with thanks to our accessors, Monitza Alvi, Hannah Lowe, and Darren Rhys-Jones. Each of these poets will receive a Chumley Award for their varied and significant contributions to poetry. Caroline Bird. Jane Draycott. Nope, you're not allowed to have that. Thank you. You will. It will come. You've got it. It's fine. Greta Stoddart. Michael Simmons-Roberts, who sadly can't join us this evening. Jackie Wills. And Tamari Yoselov. Now for the Eric Gregory Awards. The Eric Gregory Awards are for poets under the age of 30 for a collection of 30 poems. Thank you to our judges, Raymond Antrobus, Wayne Holloway-Smith, Sarah Howe, Gwyneth Lewis, Eric Nagali Charles, and Joelle Taylor. Each of the following poets will receive an Eric Gregory Award, and the judges have said that this list represents a new cohort of emerging voices with a keen sense of what's at stake in this cultural moment. The first award, Princess Arinola Agdebiti for Algorithms of Meaning. We've then got Jay Gao for Imperium, his second award of the evening, though we know he's not here tonight. Mukahang Limbu for Mother of Flip-Flops. Momtaza Mary for Bad Diaspora Poems. Sadly not able to join us this evening. Helen Kwa for Dog Woman. And Charlotte Shevchenko, Knight, for Food for the Dead. Thank you. Now to our final awards of the night. The Betty Trask Prize and awards for a debut novel by a writer under 35. Thanks go to our judges, Sarah Collins, Michael Donkor, and Alex Preston. Congratulations to our shortlist, who, according to our judges, demonstrate that new writing in this country is in excellent health, representing the kind of brilliant writing one would be lucky to encounter in writers at the pinnacle of their careers. Our Betty Trask Prize of £10,000 goes to Daniel Wiles for Mercia's Take, published by Swift Press. Thank you. Congratulations. Our congratulations go to all the winners, runners-up and shortlistees for all our prizes and awards. Their books are available for sale at the bookshop supplied by Blackwell's Books, just by the entrance, and via bookshop.org if you're watching online. Please join us in toasting our winners at our summer party, which will continue until 9 p.m, and I hope you'll be raising a glass at home if you've joined us via live stream. Thank you so much, everybody. Can I please welcome? Yes. Hooray, hooray to everybody. And just before you do drift away back towards the canapes, could we please welcome all the winners and the runners-up back onto the stage for a quick photo and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Back you come. All the winners and runners-up, please, guys. Fantastic. My God, you all look fabulous. is great. Lovely. Right, you don't want me. Do you want me? Okay. I will come.
Then that looks awkward, doesn't it?